Today we are diving into the depths of strikers.
Selfish, cocky.
Is striker the hardest position to play? All tingly and all excited.
Tingly. The best finisher, definitely, I've ever seen.
I don't think many strikers get that until you're about 18, 19, 20, 21.
The striker who I hated watching with a passion was Peter Crouch.
That's the hat-trick keeper.
Nah, they were good finishes.
Yeah, okay. Worst strikers ever.
No, Premier League, Thierry, man. You can't argue that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ball Talk. Welcome back to one of our insight episodes where we find out everything about the footballing world. Today we are diving into the depths of strikers, and to do that, you've got me, Noah, a traditional number 8 that can turn into an absolute fox in the box when it gets scrappy. We've got fast, strong, electric number 9, first half hat-trick hero, Ken Charles. First half hat-trick. And centre-back Lewis is here too.
Wow, that's disrespectful.
You all right, boys?
Yeah, good.
Good. An episode like this about strikers stinks of a quiz to start us off, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lewis, you have been struggling.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's get this in beforehand. Ken is unbeaten.
Yeah.
You are beaten.
Yeah, I've been beaten, yeah.
So, this is 3 questions, all numbers based. So, whoever's closest wins.
Okay.
We're doing it differently. Got to give him a chance.
Ken is a striker, and I'm not.
Centre back.
Or centre mid.
He's giving himself the excuses early doors.
No, I just thought I'd let the people know.
I think you have given yourself an excuse for every quiz we've done.
He did say that I'm a striker and you're a centre half before.
Yeah, but if they skip the intro, which a lot of people do, I know I do.
That's rude. Right. Question 1. How many goals has Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored in his career?
Club and country?
Yes. Everything.
Just first person. Is there a nearest?
No. We're going to do like you both say an answer.
Okay.
But don't, if he says 400, don't say 401.
No.
Give it a guess.
Okay, I'm going to go. He's played a long time.
He's played a long time.
495.
495?
It's always a bit dodgy going first, isn't it?
280.
280?
280?
No.
You can exactly double that. It's 560 goals.
I was thinking like 400, but he's played so long.
Yeah.
1-0 Lewis.
Yes.
This is uncharted territory, isn't it? We've never been here before.
Right.
How many headers has Cristiano Ronaldo scored?
In his club and country whole life.
Club and country, baby.
Okay, I've got a number.
Can you want to answer first this time?
I'll go.
What should we go?
140.
140.
I was thinking like 110.
110.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's 152.
No.
Ken wins it. It's 1-1 going into the last
That's ridiculous.
question.
Think about it.
And this is niche,
Okay.
but guessable. So not that niche.
This is the last question, yeah?
This is the last question. It's 1-0. It's the decider. Artem Dovbyk, La Liga's top scorer last season for Girona. How many goals did he score in La Liga?
I say we say at the same time here because this is one where you can just go.
Give you a second to think.
Okay.
How many goals did top scorer La Liga Artem Dovbyk score?
How is it not someone
last
from Barca
season?
or Real Madrid? That's
Dovbyk's a
mad.
baller.
He outscored Vinny and Bellingham.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a number. Actually,
Give us a countdown.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a countdown.
Okay.
But get your number.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. I want it on go.
Okay. I'm torn between 2. I'll go with the lower.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
25. No.
We had 25 from
I was going to go
Lewis.
26.
That's the 28.
We had 28 from Ken.
Oh, he's done me, hasn't he?
It's 24. Yeah. Lewis has won a quiz. Cannot believe it.
Was that it? Last year? Wow.
24.
You know what made me go lower? Is because you said he just outdone Bellingham and whoever else. And
Yeah.
You gave him the clue and he done ya. The striker lost the striker quiz. Wow.
I did play striker.
When?
No, I didn't.
6. Boys, is striker the hardest position to play?
What do you think?
You got to answer first.
No, I think centre mid.
Centre mid / centre back, yeah?
No, it's definitely one of them. I think it's the position where, you get praised the most for doing well, but you also get slated the most for doing bad.
Interesting.
Either end of the pitch, keeper and striker.
Yeah.
Because, if you miss a goal, if you miss a good opportunity as a striker, that's all they're going to talk about if you lose the game. Whereas in the midfield, if you misplace a couple passes or don't press and get beat, like, you're not really getting spoke about that much unless it's a repeat event.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it is the hardest. Of course, scoring is one of the hardest things to do. Maybe the hardest.
You're trying to be political. You want to say it's not.
No, but it's just because it's just my bias of I've played two positions. Sometimes I think strikers, what you're just doing fuck all up there.
Let's pass it right over to our striker who's doing fuck all again. It's the striker, the hardest position.
But it's defendant, isn't it? Like,
I'd say it is, but for various reasons. Firstly, you spoke about the expectations. I think strikers get there's a lot of expectation if your team's not doing well. Like, for example, Havertz at the minute. After the Fulham game, I saw him trending for we need a striker. You look at that game, it's like didn't do an awful lot wrong, but other than I didn't even hear like Kiwior that much. Obviously, I saw Martinelli get a lot of stick, rightly so, and then the next one that comes in is your centre forward. I think that's very common.
Even though he got an assist.
Assist, it's like you're obviously if you miss your chances, you get stick, and I think you that's expected. But I think you get a lot of stick as well in games where you didn't do much, but it's not your fault. You didn't get no service. You're expected to just score from nothing a lot of the time, and I think the biggest thing that makes it very difficult is you spend 90% of the game back to goal. And that's difficult. You spend most of your touches are facing your own goal, defenders behind you.
A lot of people don't think about that.
No, most people don't think about that, and that's tough. Like, it's not natural when you grow up playing as a kid or whatever. Everything you try and get on a half turn, you try and face forward. Whereas as a striker, unless you manage to get the ball in behind, which you're not going to do every time you get the ball, you're coming towards play. And you're expected to look after that. It's not a case of like if you lose it, everyone's like, oh, that's difficult. No, you have to look after it. Otherwise, you kill your team if every time the ball comes to you, you can't hold possession. So I'd say that's the part that people don't necessarily think about.
What I actually noticed when I was coaching the academy, like I coached from the ages of like 9 to 15.
Yeah.
And the one thing up until even up to the under 15s, even in the under 16s, like they'd learn it better there. But the one thing all strikers couldn't do is hold the ball.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't. They never practiced it, and you'd have to like drill it into them. It's almost like learning to walk again or something. Like it's learning a completely unnatural skill.
Yeah.
So, and these are the boys who are like supposedly the best in the country at their age.
Yeah.
They're 15, 16. They're still struggling to do it. So I get it.
I think it changes.
I don't think many strikers get that until you're about 18, 19, 20, 21.
I was going to say.
And then you have to do it against big.
Then you have to do it against,
adults.
and it's a different ball game.
It comes at like a more of an elite level, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because even now, when I'm playing football, if I'm back to defender, the player in midfield who's got the ball is looking for runners, not me. Because it's like you're facing goal, you've got to go. But it's not that at all, is it? It's so much more than that.
It is a real skill. But also, what you touched on as well, like, let's say you mentioned this, the striker don't get many chances but don't score. Like, let's say they have one.
Yeah.
And it was like a tough chance.
Yeah.
And they lose the game. Everyone's just going to be like, striker's useless. Whereas if it's like a bad performance from the team, like they don't keep the ball well, they don't really press well, you're not going centre mid useless. Like, you're going, it's the team or the manager's not doing well.
Well, that goes on to what I wanted to ask next. Does it carry the most pressure? If you make a mistake, it seems like the biggest mistake.
I'd say goalkeepers and centre halves, mistakes wise, are probably worse.
Okay.
In terms of like, if you make a mistake, you're almost always punished as a goalkeeper or centre half.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't afford that mistake. But in terms of the pressure, it'd probably have to be, because you have the pressure of winning games for your teams, and depending on how your team's going, like Arsenal are in a position right now where every game's kind of must win, and unless you're winning 2-3, 4-0 early doors, let's say the Fulham game, for example, it's 1-1, and it's like you might just get one chance and you have to put it away, and if you don't, it's going to feel like it's the whole reason we didn't win that game was because you didn't put that half chance away. It might not even be, if it's a sitter, you will score most of the time. Yeah. But it's not usually that. It's like a half chance where you probably have a 1 in 2 chance of scoring, but because of that game, the way it's going, you have to put that away.
It's mad when you put it that way, because like, imagine if a midfielder just had one chance of a pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A defender had one chance of a good clearance.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, does it?
Like, in terms of winning the games, I get why a striker could be the most pressured. But the only thing I think strikers have over like a centre back or a goalkeeper, although it's the other end, they're trying to stop the goal. If a keeper makes a mistake and it goes in a goal, he can't then go out and like resurrect his mistake.
No, absolutely.
He's got to just stand there and be with his thoughts and then try and stop the next one. Whereas a striker, you miss the chance, you're thinking, especially if it's early on, you're thinking, right, I'll get another one, or I'm going to create another one. I can run about, I can press someone, I can win the ball. So you can take action. Keeper or centre back, it's hard to sometimes take action.
That's huge. I always say, as a striker, the advantage you have is you can be poor for 85 minutes and then win your team the game in the 86th minute and it's all forgotten. Whereas a keeper or defender, it's like you have to be good for 95 minutes. You can't resurrect. You can't, like, if you make a big error, that's that for the game. You got to hope someone else scores and that game, you want win the game and it's forgotten. So
and if you, let's say as a striker you score a goal and then there's another chance that like 90 you should have scored, like it's an easy goal and you miss it, you're thinking, right, if your team end up losing, that's going to get shown. That's going to get talked about. And you're going to be the reason they lost. Whereas if you didn't lose, then everyone forgets about that chance you missed.
That's
no
a big
one remembers
thing.
it.
That's a big thing. You can score a good goal, and if you miss another decent chance and your team don't win, your goal don't matter anymore. It's why didn't you score another one to win to put the game to bed? So massively.
I think I might get a slap for this one. Anyone can be a striker.
I think that's definitely not true, in the sense that I think when you're young in academies, everyone, or even at Sunday League, everyone wants to be a striker, and slowly it filters out.
No one wants to be a Gary Neville, do they?
That's rude.
No, there's obviously, it's one of the tougher positions for a reason. I don't think anyone can be a striker because I think it requires some attributes.
You talk about hold up play.
You've got to be
Sunday
arrogant,
League,
selfish, cocky.
No, but even that, that's a big reason why you have to. I think you have to have some type of personality that most players don't have. I think you have
to have main character energy and be selfish. I think
to an extent, football's a team sport, but as a striker, you're the closest to an individual sport in the sense that you have to have that main character kind of
keeper.
Potentially, you've got to have that kind of mentality of it's about me to an extent, and it's why some strikers get labelled as arrogant. I think you have to have certain attributes as well.
I think it's what you said about arrogant. Like it can help the top players a lot, but the average or middle to lower players, it can just ruin their careers.
If you have it too much.
Like especially because in training there'll be times where these players are banging in really good goals, right? And then it's not happening during the games, and they're thinking it can't be me. Like they look to blame elsewhere.
Right?
Yeah, that's
like the service isn't good, or you're not getting the right positions because the team's not playing good enough football or stuff like that, which can be the case. But I think if you have that arrogance too much, it's just gonna
where you stop looking within yourself.
You stop looking within yourself. I think arrogance needs to be built up over your performances.
But I think you can have the right combination. We always look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo probably had he was labelled as arrogant a lot. He had a huge amount of self-belief. He had a huge ego, but clearly he was also someone that analysed his game and sort of thought about ways he can improve because he wanted to be the best. If you've got that balance, you'll be fine. It's if you just literally think I'm God's gift.
Don't get me wrong. You can't be a top world-class player without an ego and some sort of arrogance. Like even you look at players like Odegaard or Messi that you don't think have. No, they have a massive ego, massive arrogance, competitiveness, wanting to show they're the best. Like,
you have to.
Just because they don't.
Phil Jones?
Yeah, but I said top players.
That's out of order.
Wow.
But he would have. Like, he probably would have. You just can't. I just don't see how you can climb to a top level of any elite sport without having it.
Okay, so Ken, you are a good striker. You score hat-tricks in the first half. Don't know if I mentioned that yet. Are you selfish and arrogant?
I'm definitely not arrogant.
Okay.
I'd say there's a level of selfishness you need, particularly in and around the box.
Yeah.
You've got that. You have to have that. Otherwise, you're probably better off playing as a winger or as a 10.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Completely agree.
You have to be borderline obsessed with scoring goals. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere near enough the numbers that your team needs. And it's in a good way. It's not as selfish as it, like if someone's in a really good position and I can't shoot, I'm putting it on the plate for them. But it's like you have to have that like first thought is how can I score here?
Goal,
how can I score here? But yeah, and I'd say pretty much every striker would have that.
That's really interesting. Does it bleed into your life, your selfishness? Do you like, I'm paying for my own dinner tonight, I'm not paying for yours?
Nah. It's completely, it's not linked at all.
You don't have to be a selfish person.
No, you don't have to be
selfish.
No,
in the box.
No, you can't excuse your selfishness outside and say I'm a striker.
So lunch is on you today, yeah.
But what you mentioned, like about the, you got to be selfish in terms of, right, there might be a good pass on, but if I can shoot, you got to score, which I think strikers need to have. Like you need to just take an opportunity to score over anything else, as long as it's like reasonable. But there will be times where you take that chance, it goes nowhere, and there was another option.
Of course,
I was just about to say that.
Of course, you'll get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, and you can get it wrong. So I think as a striker, you've got to have a very level head and a very thick skin.
I think what's really interesting about that is, like, you'll watch a forward take the keeper to the left. He's got an easy pass on. Doesn't do it because he goes for goal and he misses, right?
Yeah.
We get on him so much. Why didn't you pass? The pass was on. But what we don't do is when he does the right thing, go, well done for not passing there, because that was selfish and that was good.
So, there's two things there. The first one is like having the confidence to, whatever situation it was that you went for the goal, went for the shot, and it didn't go in, you could have played someone else. To have the confidence and belief that what you're doing is the right thing. To then go and do it again if the situation comes up. And then also the best strikers will make the decision best, whether which one is actually better, the shot or the pass.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. What makes a good striker? We've said a few things. We're talking physical now. We're not talking mentality and selfishness.
Yeah, okay, all right. So we spoke about like the mindset then.
Yeah.
Because that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's probably...
Like, can you be a really slow striker?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can.
I think the number one attribute has got to be your finishing, because strikers come in so many different sizes, shapes. Some are fast, some are slow, whatever. I think in front of goal, if you're not a killer, it's difficult to be a really good striker, because that's when we start having conversations about guys like Jesus and stuff like that. It's like, he's so good at football, but the one thing you need him to be, it's like, you're not a killer, right? So should you just play somewhere else? I think that's the one thing, because you look at someone like a Harry Kane, who's probably one of the best strikers of the recent generation. He's also probably one of the slowest strikers. But how good is he?
Yeah.
It's because half a chance he gets in the box is pretty much in the back of the net. So I'd say that's got to be the number one attribute you have to have.
And finishing comes in, for me, it's like two different things. One is like your actual technique and strike of the ball, but the other one is your ability to get in the positions to finish. To get on, when someone just keeps...
Oh, yeah.
There's a pal of mine, James Daly, who would play as a striker at Palace and like League One, League Two. But whenever he'd have a run of games as a striker, he would score loads of goals and they'd all be tap-ins. And you look at that, not diving deep into it, and
it's
you're
a huge skill.
He's just got 10 lucky goals this season.
Yeah.
Nah.
But no, if they're all the same, same sort of finishes, why is no other striker doing that?
Yeah.
That's such an interesting point. We say that a lot. Like, he's just a poacher.
Yeah,
that's a skill, man. It's such an underrated skill, because you stick anyone else there, even another striker there, and he's not getting those chances. It can't just be luck.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 maybe luck, but if someone's scoring 10 of those a season, he knows where to be. Right. So I think that's got to be the biggest.
I think when you say about finishing, it seems so obvious when you say it out loud. But if you look at someone like Darwin Núñez, who I think is almost an incredible footballer, rapid, strong, aggressive, good in the air, couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, and that's the issue. So now it's like you're playing on the wing, son.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's exactly because it's like he's got every attribute to be such a scary striker.
Yeah.
Except
the number one.
The number one, and that's why there's the questions. Whereas, let's say you take 5% off his speed, but then you add 20% onto his,
or get rid of his dribbling.
Yeah, and then but you make him a killer in front of goal. All of a sudden,
that's really
you're having him. So yeah, that's got to be number one.
I like that. We've spoken a lot about quite a lot of negatives about being a striker. You have to be selfish, maybe the most pressurised, maybe the most difficult. Why on earth do you like being a striker then?
Well, at the same time, it's got all of that that makes it tough. But when you do score a goal, it's probably the best feeling you can get on the football pitch. And it's, as much as you have that pressure, you have the opportunity to be your team's match winner more often than not. Obviously, everyone on the pitch can score a goal. But you're at the top of the pitch. You contribute maybe slightly less defensively so that you can contribute more on the other end of the pitch. So you get that opportunity to be the hero, if you like, regularly. And for the players that have that mindset. Because again, we was talking about having an ego, having a bit of selfish. Some players don't care about that much.
Yeah.
But if you've got that, then obviously you want to be the person to make the headlines. So
I don't think I've ever had that in football. Like my thing was always dish the goals out. Right?
Yeah.
But when you score, it feels different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All tingly and all excited.
Tingly. I don't think
I did.
I've ever felt tingly.
I ran up to the crowd going, I feel a bit tingly.
That's crazy.
It is a different feeling.
No, it is. It's got to be one of the best feelings in football. But then that's why you also hear some centre backs say, you know, sort of blocking a shot is the best.
I think it's a good question to ask you. Scoring or clearing it off the line that would have been a certain goal?
See, I'm not a traditional like your centre half who just loves defending. I'm not that guy who's just like, I love defending. Like, I just can't wait.
All tingly when you defend.
Yeah, like, goal for me is the best feeling.
Yeah.
Or just being like relied on in your team, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever way that is.
What's the best type of goal to score? We're talking headers, volleys, free kicks, worldy strikes.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
The best type of goal for me is a dribble through 5-6 and slot it.
Is it?
Did it happen a lot?
It did, actually.
Yeah,
I've scored a couple goals like that, actually.
Phil Jones at the back?
Centre mid.
Was that when? Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
No, if I had to score one perfect goal, it'd be Messi's where he took on the whole team basically from the halfway.
So you're taking that over someone whipping a corner 40 yards out and you're volleying it straight away?
Because, right, I'll tell you why I'm doing that.
Tell me.
Anyone who plays football can score that volley.
Once in a while.
Okay.
At one point in their life.
Okay.
It might be after 1,000 attempts, but they can.
Yeah.
Not anyone can do the dribble round
I agree.
8 players and slot it past.
Okay.
So it shows more skill to me.
Interesting. Ken, talk to me.
I mean, to an extent, all goals feel the same, depending on the context of the game. If you're losing and you score consolation, then it's whatever.
Yeah.
So some of the best goals you score, like most enjoyable, the ones like the ball's just come off your knee from someone else's shot or something. It's unreal because it's a goal and you didn't even mean it. So like you see someone celebrating like a 2-yard tap and you think, why is he just scored a tap?
Yeah.
No, it's the same feeling.
Also, like, so let's say you score a 40-yard screamer in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
It's not going to feel as good as scoring
That
the
as well.
Champions League final if it comes off your shin 1 yard out.
Yeah.
Like,
Saliba scored off his bum last week, didn't he?
Exactly. It was the second goal against United. Look at him. So it and literally that was the goal I was thinking about. Like I remember looking at that saying those sometimes are the best goals.
So your favourite type of goal
I didn't say it's my favourite.
Of your shin.
I didn't say.
Okay, cool.
No, I was just trying to say
that's the hat trick here.
Nah, they were good finishes.
Yeah, okay.
Basically trying to say that it really depends. Like, let's say you beat 10 players or 5 players and score, but it's like to make it 5-1 and you're losing,
like
then it's not going to feel the same. So the context of the goal is just as important as the quality of the goal, I'd say. But I'd agree with Lewis that that's a kind of goal that if you score that, it's a player. Like, you know, okay, not everyone can just do that.
What's interesting about that is I've never done that.
What?
I've never dribbled it past 10 players and scored, so I wouldn't know. I was going to say like a long ranger, but fair play. I'm not a forward. What's the hardest thing about being a forward? If you had to name one thing.
From my opinion, I don't know if it's obviously finishing's up there, but I don't know if it's the hardest thing, but it's the thing that annoys me most as a centre back, centre mid.
Interesting.
From what I see strikers don't do, like when I play with them or coach. It's let's say the ball's at the right centre back, right back. The striker's on the other side of the pitch. Like, it is so annoying.
Why is he there?
The striker needs to be the ball side of the ball side of the half.
That's you have to do that.
Like, because how we've got no option to play long then. Like, no option to go direct.
See, but that seems easy to me. So why is he doing that?
What do you mean it seems easy?
Like,
because it's hard. It's hard because as soon as he's passed it to his left centre half, it gets to their left. So that's difficult.
And it's also like he might have pressed the right centre back, who's then clipped it, and we've got it on the other side now.
So kind of deciding where to be is quite hard.
No, he knows where he needs to be. It's just a case of does he want to do it?
It's staying proactive in your mind of where should I be.
Interesting,
and actually doing it, like proactively, quickly doing it. And then the second thing, what we spoke about at the start, is just be reliable. Like the midfield and defence will work so hard pressing the ball 5-10 minutes, win it back, work hard to keep it. We play one ball into the striker's feet and it bounces off like a trampoline. You need to be reliable as a striker, otherwise we've done all that work for nothing.
I feel that.
I think that's back to goal has got to be up there because it's so important for the reasons he just explained, but it's so difficult to do. It's not like they're asking you to do something super easy, but it's so important that you have to do it.
But it seems sometimes to me that some strikers, like sometimes it's not that difficult.
The one you just explained, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah, the strikers are just like lazy. Like it's just like they're expecting something to happen. There's no thought process going into it.
No, for sure. Those ones, no excuse. But sometimes you will have, let's say, won the ball back. Someone clips it into you. There's a defender right behind you.
Midfielder in front, maybe.
And that's usually the hardest. If it's just a defender, you can deal with that. Someone coming from the front, it's somehow you've got to protect that ball and wait for someone to come and link up. That's tough. And I'd say the second hardest thing is the mindset, because the finishing, this is interesting, because if you watch Darwin Núñez finishing in training, he's class.
Yeah.
In a game, it's not the same thing. I'd think 90% of Premier League strikers, if you watch them finishing in training, you'd think, unreal.
Yeah.
Which means they have it in the locker.
Yeah, of course.
So it's about the mindset of like just translating that into a game, and I think that's the hardest thing. And this is where confidence comes in. When you're firing, you have that confidence. So all of that training ground stuff translates onto the pitch. It just happens. When you're not firing, can you keep that same level of confidence? The best strikers can go 5 games without scoring, or can miss a sitter, and the next chance he gets, he just executes, and he doesn't think about the misses, he doesn't think about the pressure. The strikers that aren't on that level, the misses will be playing on their mind. The fact that they haven't scored in 5 games will be playing on their mind. So now they might not make certain runs to get into certain positions for fear of missing, or they might not, if they get the chance, they overthink it or they panic. I think that's the hardest thing, just being ice cool and doing what needs to be done regardless of what's happened in the last few games, or regardless of if you missed a chance prior.
I think along the same lines of that as well is obviously I'm not a striker. I'm not very fast at all. But if I'm playing and I'll go up front for 5 minutes, right? If I make 2 runs, 2 good runs, and I don't get the ball, I'm like, well, put me back in defence because it's pointless. Yeah. So I think actually like keeping your head must be really tough, because you might make 20 runs and you don't get the ball. Well, that one run that you didn't make because you were annoyed could have been the goal.
There's so much that's actually really tough about it and people don't realise. That's huge.
But I think
you have to do that.
Well, I think like staying, not letting them 2 runs stop you doing the 3rd run. I think that's all positions. Like I think it happens
most.
I think it happens like
yeah, but it's like if I've received the ball, if I go be brave as a centre mid to get on the ball from the goalkeeper in a dangerous position in my own half, on the half turn and then lose the ball, it's having the bravery to go do it again.
Yeah, I feel
so. That's after an error though, right? Yeah. So that's the same as missing a chance and having the bravery to go and miss.
Yeah, I'm saying
he's talking about
just
let's say you're a midfielder and you come and get it off your centre half, and he doesn't give it to you. Yeah. If you do that 5 times, he's probably going to give it to you at least twice. Because he's not like...
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Unless he just wants to shell it, and then that's different.
There's less action without like reward.
Exactly.
An outcome.
Without the outcome. You're going to ask for that ball. If you're a midfielder and you demand the ball 5 times, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Whereas a striker, centre-half has it, like you just explained before, and you run into that channel. He doesn't play it to you, right? Get back on side. Midfielder now has it. You come feet to receive it. He doesn't give it to you. Like... You can make 10, 15 runs or demands for a ball and not get it, and you can't. You have to just keep doing it. Especially the running.
Are just like knowing.
You have to, and then you don't get it. I think the running in behind is the biggest one, because it obviously requires energy, and it requires a lot for a player to play a good ball into you behind as well.
Yeah,
which is why a lot of players won't do it. You might make a run and he'll just turn it down, or when he does do it, like you said, off the pitch or something.
Yeah. One of the best bits of advice I ever got was from my under-18s manager, Paddy McCarthy, who's an ex-Palace captain, and he said with football, like the best thing he called it like stay on the process, which is like, let's say you win the FA Cup one week and then next week you can get sent off. It's like don't get too high when you're up there, and don't get too low when you're down there.
Okay,
that's huge. Yeah, I think that's every position. That's every player.
Just keep cool.
You have to, and that's.
Because then the highs don't affect your performance, the lows don't affect your performance.
Just be a chill guy.
Yeah, basically. Like when we were talking about the strikers, for example, being a cool mindset, I think it comes massively to that. If you're really confident, yes, feed off the confidence. But if you're now not performing, you haven't all of a sudden become a bad player.
Yeah.
You've got to somehow remain level and know that, okay, you're having a bad patch now.
Mm-hmm.
You're still the same player you was 2-3 months ago.
There's 3 players that come to mind when I say who stay on that perfectly. Saka.
Yeah.
Yes.
Never high or low.
Yep.
Really. Like, I mean, he missed a penalty in the World Cup final, come back and scored a penalty in like the second game
Huge.
of the Haaland and Cole Palmer, because they just don't really like. I know Haaland gives it some, but it don't really affect his attitude in the game, does it?
Yeah.
Haaland's definitely a bit more emotional than them two, but it's the same. And Pep spoke about it in terms of he's unreal when it comes to he misses chances, obviously, like everyone, but it doesn't he doesn't change.
Yeah.
He will still make the same runs. It's out of his mind, and then he'll score the next. So he's very good at that. And then obviously Palmer and Saka are good examples.
Palmer might not be my choice though.
For what?
Just not thinking. He's just a bit away with it, isn't he?
He's a bit different. I think Saka and Haaland are probably like consciously thinking in that thing, whereas Palmer's probably just there. Like,
I don't know what's going on there.
He's got lucky, mate.
He's like a monkey in his head. That's all he's got. There's a lot of talk at the minute that kind of strikers aren't the same as they used to be. Like the traditional number 9 is dying out. Why?
I think it's just come with the changes in football, like the demands of and the way football's played now.
Right.
Like the strikers, I was saying to Ken before we started, strikers that used to be like the proper mavericks of the teams, like the Henry, R9. Like you could just go through them all, Wayne Rooney. But now it's like they're massive build-up players. They're just sort of robots that are producing output and not doing much else. So yeah, I don't know. It's they're not the same.
No, they're not, are they? And I think there's the whole Barclaysman trend. It's just happened. You look back at that, you don't really see it. You might see it like Mateta's a bit of that for Palace, but it's such a different role to what it used to be. I feel it used to be like you are up top, and you just get your big head on it, do what you can, annoy the defenders. Now I don't think I think it was that. Harry Kane's coming into CDM sometimes to receive the ball.
I also think it's almost slightly gone back to what you were just saying, because I feel like it's now like I said, it's just about output, getting goals, whereas it used to be, you used to have strikers like Luis Suarez who would get the ball, like do unbelievable skills, be involved in all the play and score goals.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
I think a big thing. I think I heard Thierry Henry speaking about this before. I think Ronaldo and Messi had a big impact on football. I think most of your best players in an academy coming through nowadays, or certainly in the last 5-10 years when Ronaldo and Messi were at their best, now wanted to play sort of a wide forward role. And that seems to be where your best players are coming through. Whereas back 20 years or so ago, when you had your R9s, when you had your Thierry Henrys, those were the best players wanted to be there.
When we were in academies.
Yes. Yeah. So you wanted to just be a striker. I don't know if kids coming through in the last 5-10 years still think I want to be a number 9. I think a lot of them might have perhaps want to be on the wing, want to do what Ronaldo's doing, what Neymar was doing, those kind of players. And that's in line, and that's also in line with the way the game's gone in terms of the formations. We always play one striker now. It's just a different role. So that could be a big reason. I think your flair players tend to be out wide now, or just behind the striker, whereas before they were the strikers as well.
Yeah.
And there tend to be less flair players. Yeah. Again, like I mean, even Van Persie, he used to receive the ball back to goal for Arsenal, do some like little cheeky turn and just whack it top bins. No strikers just laying it off now. Every single time.
It is coming, like you just, it's really interesting, you just said, it is coming back. Mateta, Chris Wood, Gyökeres, John Duran, just absolute beasts striking a ball hard. It's coming back. Chris Wood's got like 10 goals, no assists.
He's unreal.
No assists.
So when I was on my PFA coaching course, one of the blokes who was like coaching us, who was like, he was like fairly old, but he says like he was convincing me that football just goes around in cycles. So everything that has been, it will just come round again. So I'm convinced we're going back into that stage of like the 4-4-2.
Really?
Like you even see it with Arsenal. When we press, like you do see a bit of it. It's just going to be a modern twist on it.
Bald? Players going to be bald again, do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know. That might never come back.
You want it to come back,
the people don't know. The people don't.
Yeah. Just remember, if we get a certain amount of followers, he's going to shave his head, so just follow us.
We should have really said that at the start.
Yeah, just follow us. Before we get on to best and worst strikers ever.
Worst.
Can't say me.
Worst at what level, though?
Top level.
Okay. Worst
So,
at Prem.
yeah.
Because, like...
We're not going like, oh, this is Sunday League striker.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to ask you both a separate question, right? So, Lewis, who is the best striker you've ever played with or played against?
For me, it's actually a surprising one. The best finisher, definitely, I've ever seen live is Connor Wickham, and I've played with. Do you know Connor Wickham?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never seen someone finish a ball like it.
Really?
He's like, the finish is first time from crosses, volleys, just no backlift. He's like he's similar finishing to like Harry Kane.
That good?
Yeah, but he's just like, he had a lot of injury struggles.
Okay.
When he come back, he wouldn't be the like quickest and sharpest. He'd be a bit bulky and heavy, and then just get injured again.
Yeah.
If he didn't have like any injuries, he'd be a serious problem.
And you've played with some strikers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good strikers at Palace that I played with. Benteke was good.
Baller.
I think Dwight Gow and Glenn Murray was a good partnership.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of actual finishing, like obviously there's Edouard Mateta there now, but in terms of actual finishing, Connor Wickham, night and day.
This is what I meant by like a Premier League striker. You see them on the training ground, it'd be scary.
He was coming back from an injury once, and his first game back, he'd been out for like 8 months. First game back, he was playing striker for us, the under-23s. This was the type of character he was.
Yeah.
So he would, the first 5 minutes, scored a bicycle kick. 10 minutes later, scored another goal. 10 minutes later, scored another goal.
Really?
And then he got himself sent off. all in the first half. Like that is him to a T.
That is pure Barclays, man.
That is, like the best finisher, 3 unbelievable finishes, then just gets himself sent off. First game back. And then,
Quality.
and he just walks in. But,
I got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, mate, he was honestly, you need to watch some of his finishes, like so good.
That's great.
Like in training, it was insane.
I love that. Ken, what's your favourite moment so far as a striker in your career?
Last minute winners.
Yeah?
Is there a specific one?
Oh,
It's going through the thousands right now.
Too many. It's too many, bro.
there was one I scored when I was at Enfield, going through 4 players.
Yes.
And then
Nice.
bottom corner, cross keeper finish.
That's a double
Last
whammy.
minute. That's double
Yeah.
whammy.
Yeah.
4 players and last minute winner. You got to take those. But last minute winners in general, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
First half hat-trick just doesn't even come into it.
Well, we
Whatever,
lost
innit?
that game, so
We don't talk
How
about
can
that,
you
though.
score a first half hat-trick and lose
We
the
don't
game?
talk about that.
if
we
we'd
don't talk
won,
about that.
then that would be. But we
Yeah.
lost, so yeah.
But there's plenty more to come.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Best and worst strikers ever. Let's go.
All top level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When we say we're going to get onto worst strikers, when we say worst strikers, they're better than us, right? We're not
Yeah.
saying that. First half hat-trick, who's
Yeah.
done it? We're
it's
not
Premier League,
saying
probably
they
better
are
than me, but
bad,
yeah.
right? We're just saying
Don't know.
at the time they weren't great. But let's start with best strikers ever.
Okay. Are we going any league?
Yeah,
Obviously top
go
level.
whoever you want.
Best strikers ever. For me,
Let's go any league and let's go Premier League after.
Okay, any league, R9. It's got to be up there. Probably number 1.
Are you chucking in people like Ibra, Totti, Crespo?
No, they're up there.
They're all
Yeah,
very good.
But there's better ones for me. Suarez is better than them for me.
yeah.
Them two are standouts. And then for me, if you put Messi as a like when he's played striker, he'd
Yeah.
be number 1.
Yeah. I've got to say, I think Ibrahimovic is a bit disrespected.
Yeah.
That guy's the olden times. He's not that old.
Olden time.
The ancient Haaland. That
Very
guy
good.
could score with any part of his body,
Yeah.
anywhere on the pitch, however he wanted.
And I probably didn't see him play at his peak.
That's
Like,
the
do you
only
remember
thing,
that goal where he's like done 5 chops in a row
Yeah.
and just took it round some?
Or the goal
Silly.
against England, the overhead kick.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
just
I watched that
ridiculous.
one,
That's
yeah.
just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
Balotelli, is he out
No,
there?
he's not in. No.
talent-wise, as like he definitely had the talent to be as good as anyone, but just never
Just setting
ever.
up fireworks in
yeah,
his
it's
bathroom
just
and that,
crazy.
mate.
Yeah,
Obviously, we're missing out like the Prem, like players like Van Persie,
Yeah.
Rooney,
Yeah.
Thierry Henry,
Drogba.
Drogba.
For me, with bias, and I'm happy to say that, is Thierry Henry.
Over
He's-
R9.
Yes.
Ooh.
I think.
No.
Oh.
R9 for me is the best ever.
I think if you're going out and out number 9s,
Yeah.
it's R9
I was thinking
without a
Premier
doubt
League.
because it's just what could he not do?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
strong, quick, could beat 5 players and score, could score
Yeah.
from 30 yards. He could poach.
And he was overweight.
and still was unreal. So like,
Ronaldo,
he as strikers, I think it's easy
Premier
to
League.
say him. Premier League, Thierry Henry, I'd go.
Yeah.
Even though people have scored more than him.
No,
Thierry
Premier
Henry.
League, Thierry Henry, man. You can't argue that. Close second, I'd give Wayne Rooney.
Close.
Yeah.
See,
Wayne Rooney
Rooney was
gets me,
nowhere near as enjoyable to watch as Henry was for me.
Nah,
Henry made
when
it look
Rooney
like
was
a
young,
dance.
No, Rooney was enjoyable,
young.
but Henry
16
Henry
years
was
old,
very
ripping up the Prem, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Henry was still
To
enjoyable.
watch.
That's why I say best, because he had the goals, but he was also so enjoyable
Just
to watch.
floated.
Like,
But
just,
my
He had that arrogance we were
my
talking about.
favourite Thierry Henry moment / any striker moment is when he scored that free kick.
And he goes-
the ref went, no, too quick, I didn't blow the whistle. Does it again and then goes, is that enough?
Yeah.
Was that his second time?
No, I don't think he took it. I think he wanted to take it, didn't he?
I thought he took it and scored
He was
it.
about maybe he scored. I can't remember, but I know the moment you're talking about.
If he scored 2 back-to-back, that would
That's
be
why he
insane.
went, is that enough?
I think I remember that moment.
Yeah,
That was
that's
and
insane.
the free kick was a
He
joke.
had the perfect arrogance that we've spoken about, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
an arsehole.
No, he assisted loads,
knew
but he knew he was that
was
guy.
the boy.
Yeah.
So best striker of all time, R9, we're agreeing on. And
I'm
best-
saying that.
and
He's
best-
saying Thierry Henry.
and
Nah.
best Prem, I'm going Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Why have no one mentioned Pele?
No, I can't.
I don't.
Maradona.
I can't question.
Didn't even
on
watch
people
them guys.
because It's like it's highlights. It's scoring 1,000 goals in like your garden.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I still haven't done that.
You just need to document it.
I
Mate.
do. Worst strikers ever. And again, they clearly aren't the worst strikers ever.
Nicholas Bentner.
Nicholas Bentner's got to be up there.
He's got
That's
to be up
harsh. I mean,
Lord Bentner.
No, it's harsh because he's playing for Arsenal. but
I
I'm
was going to
thinking
say
like-
that.
I don't want to pick like a West Brom.
Yeah, I was going to say the Arsenal players come to mind because they frustrated us a lot for a long time until we got Aubameyang. I'd say between Van Persie and then we had Van Persie, but after Henry, it was difficult.
It was Van Persie and
It was
that's
Van Persie.
Bro, we had
Adebayo
Bentner-
was all right.
We had Bentner and Shamak.
Adebayo had a
So
good season.
Shamak was at Palace.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Tell us about him.
Was he a baller?
Because he was annoying at Arsenal.
So I never actually trained with him. He was, but I'd watch him train. Like I'd be in there every day to train with him, see him train. Sorry, and he was actually good, man.
Yeah.
That's
like
what
he
I'm saying,
he
like,
would
it's-
up the quality of Palace's training session.
Really?
And
Would you
you-
like
and you look-
all round like?
just like if you watch the training with him or without him, the quality would be higher with him. Like even the standard of the play. And
Crazy.
you
The thing
look
is
at him
there's-
on Arsenal when you think he's a donkey.
There's
Yeah.
levels, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, because Arsenal's just another level.
Yeah.
Like, you might not be good enough for that, but at one point, he was good enough for Arsenal to sign him.
Yeah.
That automatically makes him good enough.
There was actually
Yeah.
another
To-
player who I did train with, who was who come from Arsenal.
Who?
Flamini.
Matthew Flamini.
Yeah,
he was alright at
Wow.
Arsenal.
And he was, but I still underestimated him. He's a baller, man. He was at the end of his
Really?
career at Palace.
You know, he's a billionaire now.
Absolute billionaire.
No, mate, the boys used to joke with him about like saying like, "Give us a tenner."
Had it started back then already,
he
yeah.
was like already the CEO of the company or whatever.
Yeah.
But and it was pretty much in the billions of.
Give us a tenner is
crazy.
crazy from
But I'm
Premier League
thinking,
footballers.
Tenner as well, make it more.
it was banter. Like,
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just mad, isn't it?
It's mad to think like how he's earning so much money from football and then he's also just
He's
got a
only-
£1 billion
yeah.
company.
Yeah, to the point where the football's a side hustle now.
Yeah, so football's just like little side quests, man.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's
I've got
pennies.
there's one
Striker. So who did
striker-
you say? Bentner. You stuck with
Bentner
that.
just come to mind because I'm an Arsenal fan.
There's one striker that I have in mind, right?
Go on.
You know
I've
Yarsinoga?
always said, oh wow, yeah.
Was he? He might have been at Palace.
Sonoga was at
Yeah.
Palace.
Yeah, I thought. I reckon. That's why I come to mind.
Was he a baller as well?
He was in the Shamak era.
Yeah.
I can't remember him. I remember him. I can't remember watching him train. But I remember being around with him.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
this is the funny thing because I think of like Ricky Lambert, right? He was
He-
terrible,
he-
but he went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
He played for England. And
Andy
scored for
Carroll.
England.
You can pick a player on a certain period. I suppose you don't have to pick
Yeah.
an overall.
Do you know
This is
who-
difficult, man.
Do you know this is wild? And just let me land, right?
We've gone off topic.
Yeah, we have gone off topic. The striker who I hated watching with a passion was Peter Crouch
No,
because
way.
he made it look so gangly,
Yeah, but
unbalanced.
he's actually good.
But he's-
he's
yeah,
actually
no,
he's a
technically
tech man,
good.
This
yeah.
is the thing. This is what I'm
It
saying.
makes no
right?
sense how good he is.
Absolute
Yeah, it's
baller.
mad.
But I hated watching him.
Yeah.
I was like,
Tyson Fury at boxing, the way he moves.
he's 6
so
foot
good.
whatever. He makes it look terrible. Why is he better than me? And I used to
Yeah.
think that when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
how
The whole
is this
country thought that until he
7
started
foot
banging in
geezer?
goals for England.
And then he's chesting it and volleying it from 30 yards at Stoke.
The amount of overhead kicks he scored. by the way.
He was a problem.
Yeah.
He's a problem.
Crouch.
Very good.
I hated watching you. I hated watching you with a passion. I thought you were the least aesthetically pleasing footballer ever. But I apologise because you were an absolute baller.
And an even better pundit.
S tier. There we go.
S tier, yeah.
Genuinely, I couldn't watch him because I was like, how's he better than me?
Who's your worst then?
It's difficult, man.
Nicholas Bentner, I'm going to chuck in. If I can think of any others.
Yeah, we're going quite Arsenal heavy, aren't we?
The thing is, because even with the Arsenal, like, they're not going to be the worst. They might have been Arsenal's worst.
Do you remember Robert? Was he a centre back or a striker?
Centre back.
Was he?
Oh my God.
That's why he's my worst striker ever.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to think of strikers I didn't like you said, like watching.
Yeah.
That were just a bit ugly.
I think I always think of like the big.
Andy
Carroll.
Carroll.
I never rated Carroll.
Yeah, I didn't like Carroll, but I'll go with Nicholas Bentner just because he pissed me off at Arsenal.
Yeah, fair.
Ken, any ideas?
It's difficult, man. Because I actually always see the positives in them.
Yeah.
As a player, as a player / like, there's never been a striker that I've watched in the Premier League where I've gone, he's so bad at everything that like, why is he there instead of me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I always think he might be poor at finishing, but then I see there's a reason he's there. For example, Carroll's hold-up play is a joke.
It is, yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah,
it's just,
so he's not good fun to watch, and it's like he was never like he never fulfilled at Liverpool, especially coming off the back of Suarez.
But
then I look at it and think that hold-up play is a joke.
But do you not watch like Xerxes now and think I'm better than him?
I haven't seen enough of Xerxes. I haven't to make a decision yet, but it's not been positive.
There must be some strikers where you look at and think I should be there instead of them.
That's a great question. Do a list.
I've got up now worst Premier League strikers of all time.
And say if Ken has ever thought or does now he's better than them.
To be fair, mine's probably gone blank.
Well,
Let's see
after
what
the
you
first
say.
one, this can't be true. They've got Falcao.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's just like
I think it's like worst performances.
That just means he didn't.
Do you know who I used to really like watching? Is Cavani.
Oh, unreal.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't great at Spurs.
So,
he wasn't great.
Did you ever think, or do you think now you're better than
The thing is,
Salgado?
when I was watching him, I was probably like 15.
You were like, yeah.
So
I'm better than him.
What about Joe for Man City? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Joe.
Oh, wow, yeah. Better than Joe?
I didn't watch enough of him.
Okay. Yeah, these are quite throwback ones.
That's a yes.
Number one, Yaya Sanogo. Worst.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He had like 2 good games for Arsenal out of like 40.
Early doors as well, I think,
and then 2 for Palace.
Yeah.
So when we do this is slightly off topic. When scouts see Sanogo at Arsenal and go, he's the man. What has happened there?
Profile was a big thing.
Really?
Yeah, and also what you don't realise is these players at under 18 level would have been ripping it up. Like 21s level ripping it up.
So it's like a punter. Like if he can just translate that.
Yeah.
But then he never does, so then it looks like an awful signing.
Yeah, you have to have been the main man in the team at some point to be playing on that stage.
Yep. Also, Arsenal in that phase were not ever going. You know how we talk about going to sign Isak now, going to sign whatever. Yeah. That was not even in the question. We just built a stadium. It was like big money signings weren't it? So everything was about who might be the next best thing that we can just get for £1 million. And that's why we ended up with all of those type of strikers in that era, because it was like, if he's not great, okay, it's just 1 million. If he comes great, fantastic. We couldn't go and sign the best striker at the time.
As well.
But that's happening nowadays with Højlund. I don't really rate 70
that's bad business, because it's like you're not even taking a punt. You're actually taking a punt, but also putting down top money. That doesn't make any sense.
You're punting from a good team. Like if you have to get them from a lesser
They were
team.
getting. That's why they're unknown. Like at Sanogo, you're like, where did we get this guy from? If you want to go and get him from an Atalanta, like they got Højlund from, or then they're just going to price you out of it anyway.
Especially these days,
Sanogo, if you are watching, we apologise. Come on a video and we'll see your techers.
He's going to remember
Prove us
Lewis
wrong,
and say it.
Prove us wrong.
Use your teammate.
Yeah, well, that's a loose term.
That is Strikers episode done by 2 strikers and a centre-back. So thank you for listening. Join us next week where we will be going through a Premier League contract for the second time, as you guys loved it for the first time. Nice one, guys. See you next week.